Have any of you guys heard of a game called
Ashes of Creation?
Ashes of Creation is a sandpark PvP MMORPG.
I think that we'll watch the Ashes of Creation video. It looks good. It does. It looks
great.
good.
I hope.
It's actually been months since I last made a video talking about Ashes of Creation, and the reason being...
You don't like Ashes of Creation. Ashes of Creation in its currently planned design is not made for you.
I know I say this every month, but fuck me. What a reveal.
You got some irate PvP maniac who's just like, I just want to kill the guy sitting at the bar. You know, that I think that will be pretty funny.
Ashes of Creation has been mocked, dismissed, and denied by most of the MMORPG player base.
You may have seen videos going around of me talking about Ashes of Pantheon, Rise of the Creation Fallen.
Ashes of Creation has been on quite the journey since its initial Kickstarter back in 2017. In that time, Kira TV has gone from reviewing games to becoming the English Sunny V2, which by the way has been great content and is worth watching. Asmongold is now the #1 Ashes of Creation content creator simply by reacting to other Ashes of Creation content. And then we had the rise of Narc the Dented One, who tells me on a regular basis I'm regarded. At least that's what I think he said. I'm also somewhat convinced he's an industry plant by Steven Sharif to try and promote this game, because who makes a channel about a game that quite literally doesn't exist? And inside the game, there's been just as many changes. They've gone from UE4 to UE5, they had a brief stint as a battle royale, and they hired the Elder Scrolls Online former lead writer. And that's just the more noteworthy stuff. There's been a lot of other developments in the background, which, as you can imagine, are hard to keep up with. But the biggest news for me is the fact that Alpha 2, the persistent alpha, which you can play until the day of launch, will be going live in Q3 this year. And in order to play, you just have to back them with a Founders Pack.
What the hell is even that?
Which costs a low price of $250.
Oh, that's nice. My mom gave me that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that one stung a bit, especially during tax month. But we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. So what is the point in this video? Well, quite simply, I want to give a roundup of Ashes of Creation, some of the stuff I'm looking forward to, some of the stuff which has me concerned, and just generally the state of Ashes of Creation in 2024. I'll leave chapters in the description below, so if you do get bored of a certain segment, or just my voice, you can always skip ahead. And just for the record, this is my own opinion, this video isn't sponsored, so if I say something dumb, it's completely on me. And if you want to see more of my stuff, by all means, subscribe, leave a like, and all that jazz. Every 1 like is 1 cent towards my Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 key. But anyway, let's get started. As stupid as it sounds, there's been a lot of debate around the core values of this game. Some people are saying it's a open world PvP game, and for that reason alone, it will never work. But in actual fact, it's designed to be a open world PvX experience. And some of you are probably wondering, what the hell is even PvX? One of the core pillars about the game is simply player interaction. This is going to be a social MMO. It simply means other player actions will have an effect on you, be it big or small, and there are different systems in place to try and force you to get along with the other MMO players. There is no group finder, you're going to have to actually go out and talk to people in order to complete dungeons. There are limited resources. If someone decides to come through and chop down all the forests, then that's going to have an impact on your game. Cities will be player ran and player governed, so that will definitely have a knock-on effect. And of course, you'll have the ability to PvP at pretty much any given time, which will be governed by the corruption system. Ashes of Creation is putting the MMO back in MMORPG, which as you can imagine has raised certain concerns, especially in regards to the whole PvP issue. They generally think because you have the ability to attack anyone, everyone's just going to do it straight from the off. No one's going to work together. Everyone's just going to have their own agenda and kill each other. But Intrepid Studios aren't that stupid. They have a wealth of experience in other games which have a similar PvX environment, and for that reason they've implemented the corruption system. The corruption system is designed in such a way that if you do decide to go full on shitter, full on rat mode, and you want to go around kill anyone and everyone, there will be implications.
Because of the implication.
Full on corrupted players can be bounty hunted, they also run the risk of losing gear if they die, and they will incur a greater XP debt if they die as a corrupted player than if they were to die just as a regular Joe. The point in the corruption system is to deter people being complete shitters, whilst also allowing people to be able to have meaningful PvP. And as you can imagine, just the acronym PvP is enough to strike fear in certain players' hearts. They will literally tell you the game's going to be trash and no one's going to like it because it has PvP. It's also worth noting that the corruption system is still being hashed out at this current time. But as I said earlier, the whole point in Ashes of Creation is that it's a PvX game. It's player versus whatever obstacle is put in front of them, be it PvE or PvP or both. And let's not forget, one of the main pillars of this game is risk versus reward. And even if you die in a PvE situation, you risk losing stuff. There is going to be a negative effect to you if you die. Not to the effect of hardcore classic WoW is not that extreme, but it will certainly make you reconsider doing a Leroy Jenkins.
Ready, guys? Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins! Oh my god, he just ran in.
Haha, boomer meme. So who is this game for? Well, to put it simply, anyone who's not scared to leave the Shire, people who are sick of cookie cutter MMOs and are looking for something a bit more challenging and a bit more social. And with that, let's take a deeper dive into some of the systems.
Our castle system, our sieges against nodes, the caravan system, battlegrounds that exist, guild wars. We want there to be a meaning to this conflict. We want players to actually have some skin in the game when it comes to participating in PvP. If you own a home in a node and you don't want to see that home destroyed, you need to defend that city.
To simply put it, there's going to be instance PvP in the form of battlegrounds and sieges. There's also going to be open world PvP, and these will be more organic events. So if you're transporting goods from one node to another, there's opportunity for players to defend and attack. There will also be plenty of opportunities for naval PvP. Simply put, when you are in the ocean, consider it international waters. Anything goes. In one of the more recent showcases, they did go on to show us the caravan system. There'll be different types of caravans, from town projects to personal caravans. There is no fast travel in this game, and there is no global trader. If you want to sell items, you have to do it in town, and if you want to buy items, you have to go visit that town. And with this, we'll bring the opportunity for organic open world PvP, because there will be players trying to transport goods from one place to another. Some people might want to help them, and others might want to take their stuff. This also opens up the perfect opportunity for you to be social by simply hiring people to help you guard your shit, or vice versa, hire people to help you hijack a caravan. Isn't that lovely, seeing the community come together?
Why? Why can't I tell the fucking car? Why can't I tell the car?
I'm so proud of this community.
And of course, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to contest dungeons, raids, resources, hunting grounds, just generally anything in the open world. What this means is that flower pickers can band together, create a guild, and have a claim on a certain patch of grass where all the best flowers grow. And any of those PvP sweats who try to take their flowers, well, they risk being zerged down and having their resources taken from them. Or maybe the fishermen will pack together and claim certain parts of the ocean because they know that's where the best fish are. And all of a sudden, you're having to pay protection money just to have the right to fish in a certain area. At the time of recording, we're still waiting for them to do a proper PvP showcase, but the whole point of this game is that it's not just mindless killing, there's going to be meaningful conflict, which is something that hasn't been in an MMORPG for quite some time. And if you're scared of the whole always flag for PvP, just remember, EVE Online has been an open world PvP game for the last 20 years. So how will PvE work in Ashes of Creation? Last year during the showcases, we were introduced to many PvE events. This included a showcase of one of the world bosses just roaming around, knocking down trees, and eventually being confronted by a raid group. We also got introduced to zones affected by corruption, with a sneaky little boss hidden in the background. And we also got to see a PvE event being triggered just by players being in the local area. A lot of the PvE won't be instants, it will just be a case of you either planning to go to a dungeon or just naturally stumbling into a PvE event. If you want something to compare this to, think about Guild Wars 2 when a random event occurs and you and a group of PvE players jump in together to help get the quest done. What Ashes of Creation offers is a breakaway from the traditional fetch quest. You don't have to go here, kill 10 things and come back. Well, at least I don't think you do. We'll find out later on, I guess. And for those of you who are into the weirder stuff such as lore and story, Ashes of Creation will have oodles of that. But overall, I think they're going to have a healthy balance of open world PvP mixed in with PvE to create PvX. For many players, housing is endgame, and I think Ashes of Creation have nailed this on the head. There'll be different types of player housing. You have your apartments, you have your freeholds, your inns, and your static housing, with certain types of housing being more exclusive than the others. Houses will serve a purpose. You have the ability to sow seeds, create furniture which will have certain uses, farm animals,
happy life on the farm, and now,
oh god, go to sleep.
Place businesses and artisan buildings, and you can also display some of your more prized items. Houses will also be safe. You won't be able to PvP within the plots of a house or apartment or freehold. You can also share permission with other players, so if you do have friends that maybe you want to go halves on a house and raise some piglets together, that's a possibility.
If you're homeless, just buy a house.
For me personally, when it comes to housing, it always feels like a side quest, something to do when you got nothing else to go and work towards. Whereas Ashes of Creation, they're making it something that's exclusive and actually has a use and a purpose. It's something that you're going to want to do as opposed to something to do because you're bored. And I think as well, it's going to keep you grounded in the game. It's going to add to that immersion, especially the politics of the node system and how it could potentially affect your dwelling. If done right, this system could champion all the other systems within the game. But from a personal perspective, I just want to run a tavern where I can charge people to herb. When we talk about the node system, what we're actually talking about are villages, towns and cities owned and ran by players. They will act as social player hubs for you to go collect quests, do bounties, do crafting, and of course a place for you to trade with other people. Nodes will evolve over time and they actually have the ability to affect the surrounding area and trigger certain events. But for me, the most thrilling and exciting thing about nodes is that you'll have a mayor, which will be a player who will run the whole entire show. But wait, there's more. Unlike New World, where it seems like the same old guilds are dominating the same old towns and it just doesn't change, Ashes of Creation has implemented an election system for you to choose the type of node you want to have and also the type of mayor you want to have. So for example, if you have a scientific node, then mayors will be elected based on popularity. If you want to Donald Trump your way to success, you can have an economic node where basically whoever pays the most becomes the mayor. Also, I don't know how else to say mayor. Mayor. I honestly, it's losing all fucking meaning at this point. I'm just going to call it president now, alright? President of the node. If you have a divine node, then it'll be the best quester within your city who will run the show. And then you have a military node, and check this, it will be trial by combat. Only the best fighter will lead the people, and I'm sure that won't go wrong.
Allowed to wear a helmet?
Dressed like a knight.
Yeah, but is
I'm
that
gonna
fair?
fight a monkey? Fuck fair.
The people
Are you
paying?
on team person or team monkey?
In order to take part in any of these elections, you have to be a citizen. And to be a citizen, you have to own property within inside the node. And this is what commits you to looking out for your node, wanting the best for it, and obviously working towards a brighter tomorrow. Yes, I will be putting myself forward as a candidate for mayor. And I will rule these lands with an iron fist. Or something like that, probably. And this is what I mean by it being a social MMO. It makes you think about the world politics a bit more, especially if it's going to affect your place of habitation. There will obviously be interaction between the nodes. Maybe the node to the east of you likes pineapple on their pizza and you think they're wrong-uns and they should be wiped off the earth. That could happen. Or perhaps you want to work together to get rid of the dragon that spawned because people weren't fighting enough corruption. Or perhaps you might work together, create better trade routes and become a booming ecosystem. To put it simply, the node system is huge. It's going to be a big part of this game. It's one of the core pillars as to how the social interaction will work with other players. And honestly, I'm super excited for it. As the old saying goes, go big or go home. And with Ashes of Creation, they're aiming to have 8 to 10,000 concurrent players on a server. To give you some perspective, New World can only hold 3,000 players per server, and that's using the latest AWS technology. What this also means is that they're counting on player numbers to be high for this game. If they don't reach their player count, a lot of systems will fall flat on their face. For instance, the world map is 1,200 kilometers squared. But not only that, Ashes of Creation will have very limited forms of fast travel. If you want to get from A to B, you either have to walk, ride your horse, or get on a boat. The Ashes of Creation wiki does refer to some sort of like public transport, but it's hard to understand how that will quite work.
Bus wankers!
So let's put that into perspective for you. The Mortal Online 2 map is 384 kilometers squared, and they notoriously don't have fast travel unless you die and you respawn, but it's a whole thing. And that can take anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes to go from one side of the map to the other on horse. And to give you a further comparison, at any given time there's roughly about 1,000 players on Mortal Online 2, give or take, okay? When playing this game, you can sometimes feel like the loneliest person alive because you're in the middle of nowhere with no one about and it just feels so scarce and isolated. And this is a map which is 1/4 of the size of the whole of Ashes of Creation. Now, Ashes of Creation should be more popular than Mortal Online 2, I think there's no argument there. But you have to understand, this game is all about high risk, high rewards, and it feels like they're doing the exact same thing with their player numbers. If they were to only have about 3,000 people on a server meant for 10,000 people, there's obviously going to be a knock-on effect to the economy, the node system, and just the overall socialness of the game. However, if they pull it off, this has potential to be one of the biggest MMORPGs out there. So as I stated at the start of the video, I do have access to Alpha 2, which is obtainable if you go and purchase the Voyager pre-order package. But be warned, there's a flash sale. If you don't buy this before the 17th of January, you cannot play Alpha 2, I think. I don't know, terms and conditions may apply. These packages have been on sale ever since the Kickstarter, and they haven't changed in price. And that price is $250. And with that, you get Alpha 2 access, you get Beta access, you get some in-game embers, and you also get 6-month subscription to the game, which, by the way, doesn't have a box price, it'll be based on subscriptions. And I bought this package solely for Alpha 2, because Alpha 2 is going to be a persistent alpha. What that means is that it'll be live until the game is actually live. Think of it as slightly earlier than early access. This alpha will have a restricted player level, I believe it's currently set to 30. It will be a smaller sized map. Currently there's no PvP planned as far as I know, because they're still working out some kinks in the corruption system, and you will not be immune from server wipes or changes in how the game plays. It's essentially a way to give feedback on the game and to help them move into a better direction. Other games who have done this successfully include Baldur's Gate 3, and that is the full list of games I can think of who have done a successful early access and produced a decent game. This is probably the point where people scream at the screen and write an angry comment. I welcome them. Star Citizen is another MMO which is also in a persistent alpha. It's also been in alpha for like the last 10 years. It's obviously mocked for this reason, and it's seen as a cash grab game because you can buy spaceships which cost up to like $10,000 and more. But anyway, the point is, Star Citizen is a persistent alpha, so naturally when you hear another game doing that, people will always draw a comparison between the two. And I don't think that's fair because Ashes of Creation has been in development for 7 years now, and they're only just doing this persistent alpha. Whereas Star Citizen, it's been out for 10 years and probably been in alpha for 9 years. And I will defend Star Citizen because I feel like it's not a scam because there is a game, you can go play it, it is quite big. Yes, you had to pay to go play it. You don't have to buy a $1,000 spaceship. That's just a game trying to make more money than it probably needs to. I mean, I understand people want to support a game, but buying a spaceship for like $10,000, that's batshit crazy. And I'm fully aware that some people will look at me and go, you just spent $250, aren't you the same batshit crazy? The difference is, I also get 6 months subscription. Yeah, that's the big difference. There you go. Have that one. But in all honesty, what it comes down to is that as a content creator, I want to be at the ground level of this game. I want to see if it's going to work. And believe me, if it doesn't work and I'll just pay $250, I'm going to fucking let them know. Like, I'm sending that state back and telling them to come back with something better. So what I will say to anyone who's not sure whether they should buy the alpha or not, simply this. Don't do it if you have no faith in the game. And only do it if you can afford to lose the money. And if you do it, use my referral code because I'm a corporate shill and every time someone signs up I get $100. I joke, I just get some in-game currency, which is nice I guess. As I said to someone in my comments section, I'm sure I spent more on my credit card for a lot worse. On this channel, I always try and speak my mind, say what I honestly feel, and don't sugarcoat any of the shit. If I see something that smells like shit and it looks like shit, I'm going to tell you it's shit.
If the milk turns out to be sour, I ain't the kind of pussy to drink it. Do you know what I mean?
So what is one of my main concerns for this game? The Alpha 2 is coming out in Q3 this year, and with the amount of hype around this game, some people are treating it like it's going to be a fully fledged game that'll be working from day one. And I just think that is completely the wrong attitude to have. The whole point in alpha testing is to get feedback to then go away and improve the game. But there are literally people out there who didn't even realize this game had a PvP system and they're complaining about it. I think there's a genuine possibility that there'll be some negative echo chambers which could drown out any actual feedback. I wouldn't be surprised that if for the first month of Alpha 2 nothing changes, because there's going to be a lot of sheep who will just repeat shit that they've heard from other people without actually giving genuine examples or having any actual structure to their feedback. One of my other main concerns is simply around the launch date for this game. When do they expect it to go live? How many years do we have to wait before they're going to actually release this to the general public? And I'm fully aware that this isn't a straight answer. There's been plenty of setbacks which have caused them to probably readjust their timeline. Switching from UE4 to UE5 was obviously a setback. They've had to go out and hire new talent to help produce this title, and that in itself will cause delays. We had a whole pandemic happen as well. So by no means has the journey been easy, but I do want to know, when do they expect this journey to come to an end? Otherwise, the prophecy comes true and this becomes the Star Citizen of MMORPGs, and nobody wants that. There was once a time that everyone and their nan was making a MMORPG. Every big franchise wanted to have one of these titles. And then over the years, they all became very similar, they all became very unimaginative, and they kind of had like a set template as to what makes a good MMORPG. There was a gold standard and everyone followed it, but no one really agreed on what that standard should be, or at least the players didn't. Big corporations were telling us what we wanted to do in our own genre. Because you know, that's the one thing big corporations always have at heart, our interests. There have been attempts to make a decent MMORPG with our interests at heart, but they're usually done by small indie studios and they simply just don't have the backing or the knowledge to actually put it off. But that's why I think Ashes of Creation is different. It's a decent sized studio, it's ran by a man who actually plays MMORPGs, it has knowledgeable developers from such games as EVE Online, and of course the infamous Star Wars Galaxies, which has been hailed as probably one of the most innovative MMORPGs that ever existed. And they haven't tried to add extra monetization in. I mean, just look at PAX Day. Once they announced their monetization and what they were expecting, they basically tried to charge you on anything and everything, and you can see the uproar that it caused. Ashes of Creation has promised no pay to win, no box price, subs only, and the cash store will only have cosmetics, which I can't be too angry about. It doesn't hurt to try and be different. Not everyone gets punished for being innovative in the way that they design a game. I mean, just look at Baldur's Gate 3, a classic RPG won Game of the Year. Not a battle royale, not an MMO, and by no means not another cookie cutter FPS game. But what do you think? Do you think I'm suffering from copium, or do you actually think Ashes of Creation stands a chance? Comment below, I'd honestly love to hear from you guys, and if you have got this far in the video, thank you for watching this far. And on that bombshell, I'll end the video there. By all means, if you want to see more of my content, feel free to subscribe. Every like you leave will give me 1 cent towards my Alpha 2 key. And a massive thank you to my patrons and YouTube members. It's with your guys' extra support that I'm able to do stupid shit like buy Alpha 2 keys, and I couldn't be more grateful. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you guys soon.